If you love flan and creme caramel, panna cotta, creme brulee, you're going to love the Italian hot cousin, Bonet Piemontese. This is basically, think of it as a flan with cocoa, coffee, rum, caramel, and crushed Amaretti cookies in it from northern Italy. It's so cool. This is from Dolce Italiano by Gina De Palma. This was probably the first pastry book that I ever cooked out of, and Gina was the pastry chef at Mario Batali's Babbo restaurant. However you feel about Mario, Gina's stuff is fantastic. So, like I said, this is basically a flan from northern Italy that has, caramel lining the molds, but it also has these crushed Amaretti cookies in it, give it this like pudding cake texture, and you can make your own Amaretti with different nuts. It's fantastic. I've been serving this for so long. So caramel, you saw the thing, caramel and safety, it said there. We are cooking water and sugar, and we're cooking it at high heat, and this is dangerous. So you need to be careful here, and you can also, this can be tricky. So one thing you'll notice here is that I have a fan blowing on my sugar, and it cooled it down enough while I cooked that it crystallized. That is not, what you see there is not going to happen when you're just cooking it on the stove. So crystallization is annoying, but look what happens when you just keep heating it. Those crystals are just going to melt, and all you have to do is just get it to a nice temperature. It's kind of like metallurgy or melting. It's not normal, and it is dangerous. The next thing to mention here is that if you're not experienced doing this, do not use a glass container, or just make sure that they are warm when you put the caramel in them, because if they're cold, they're going to shatter, and you don't want to shatter the glass. But glass containers can be really useful for serving small portions or making these portable. So when you're putting the caramel in the mold, be careful. Keep a little bowl of ice water nearby. Stick your fingers in if you get some on you, and roll that mold around to coat the sides, because that's going to help the custards release. Now we're making the custard base. We're just going to take heavy cream, espresso, cocoa powder, cinnamon sticks, wild vanilla extract, a shot of rum, and all the good things in life. Mix that together, bring it to a boil, cool it down, add it to some egg yolks that we've beat a little bit with sugar, and now just whisk that up. And then we're going to want to strain this to make sure that it's even and homogeneous, or you could put it in a blender. And this is a large proportion of egg yolks. This is 5 egg yolks to 1 whole egg for 3 cups of liquid. That's a lot of yolks. Do it. It's awesome. Don't skimp. Whole eggs is not the same. They get a little bit rubbery. Try using a high proportion of yolks. Now we're going to crush some Amaretti cookies. These are traditionally used in a lot of Italian cooking. It's a way to preserve nuts, and then they dry them out. You can use them anytime. Fill those things with the custard. And you want your Amaretti a little bit less chunky than I have. Or you want to let them sit for a minute so they hydrate and sink to the bottom, because this gives the custards a sort of strata when they're done, or a layering effect. And when you combine that with the caramel, it just makes for one of the most attractive custard desserts that's also really easy, and you can make them in advance and have to use a water bath. Put hot water, I'm pouring it from a steam kettle, hot water into the molds, and then we're going to bake these 30 minutes at 325, and then we're going to rotate them and bake them for another 15 to 30 minutes. Here I'm tapping the side. Can you see? Look at how it still jiggles in the middle. These are half done. So if that was a pot de creme, that would be a fine time to take those out. Those are done for a pot de creme. But for these, you need to unmold them. And I messed my first batch up, these ones. I had to cook them again because they didn't unmold properly. They were okay, but they could have been better. Okay, so this one is fully cooked, and it still moves a little bit, but you just want to go, it's going to take 45 to 60 minutes, and go a little bit more as opposed to a little bit less as far as your time in the oven, and make sure to rotate the pan. But you can see this one is done. Look at that jiggle. The jiggle, this is one of the finer parts of learning how to cook a custard, not overcooking it and having it just be the perfect consistency. These are such great desserts to keep around. You can vary this all kinds of ways. I've made it with candy caps. This one, you can see, is a 7-ounce mold. You can use all kinds of different molds, just like a flan. And those cook really even. Those ceramic molds are great. The glass is good if I'm going to transport them. But again, just be careful. And I wanted to show you, you see the caramel helps it unmold. When it's properly cooked, a little bit of moisture should come out, more than if it's underdone like a pot de creme, and that will help release the caramel so you have extra sauce. But if they're undercooked, they're not going to have enough sauce, and you're not going to get kind of the result that you want. This one was okay that I unmolded. And they still taste great. You could always eat them straight out of the container, but it's not perfect. That needs more sauce, so I had to add a little bit extra. But as you'll see, I did some other ones and they turned out just fine. But I like to show you like the progress here and things that commonly happen that you may need to troubleshoot. Top a little whipped cream, little crushed Amaretti. I made mine with black walnuts. Look at that consistency. Doesn't that look awesome? And it's all chocolatey and kind of mocha-y and a touch of cinnamon and the crunchy toasted black walnuts or hazelnuts or almonds or whatever you want to use on top. Or make it with maple syrup. Whatever you want to do. It's so good. It's like, kind of like flan pudding cake, but it's a little nutty and it's just awesome. So the full recipe's on my website. There's a link at the top of the video description for that. Thanks for watching.